All right, we're gonna get this thing started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Davon Reeves, the president and founder of the Vaughn Group. We are a hotel consulting firm, and I'm here to present to you how to use retirement for your real estate investment projects. And then I have a special guest, which I'll introduce in a few. So again, just introduction about who I am. I want to say a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a CPA or lawyer, so I always do recommend that you seek professional counsel. So definitely want to put that out there. So again, my name is Davon Reed. Some folks call me the Hotel Diva because I just love me some Beyonce. So, so they call me that. And let's see, keep going. Just a little bit about myself. I've been in an industry. I know I see some new faces and names. I've been in the industry for over 15 years. I've managed over $1 billion in assets, the co-author of Epic Conversations on Wealth, and especially I also have a new book coming out as well, How to Buy a Hotel. Currently I have about 30 million in assets. These are the different publications I've been featured in. Forbes, Afrotech, Time, Hotel Management, just to name a few. So my story real quick, for those who don't know me, I actually got started off as a front desk agent. So for those who've seen this before, sorry, but I know I've seen some new faces. So this is me while I was a front desk agent. My first job in college, working at the Hyatt Regency Atlanta. So it's funny that I'm in the lobby of a hotel next to the front desk, full circle, right? And this is me now, hotel owner. I have 3 hotels in my portfolio. One, I have the Home 2 Suites in El Reno, Oklahoma. I have 2, I have the Staybridge Suites, that's an IHG brand in Indianapolis. And then I have a Hampton Inn Suites in Scottsburg. And I was actually able to raise capital for these projects through finding investors. And actually a lot of the investors use self-directed IRAs, which Brian will be talking about in a few. So, I think so. My camera, hey camera. I just saw the floor of the lobby. Sorry about that. So how many of y'all ever played Monopoly? Here we go. I got to make sure y'all alive. How many of y'all actually played Monopoly? Put in the chat. Yes, yes. Y'all remember playing it? And remember you needed what? 4 houses to get to a hotel, right? Well, you don't have to do that this case. So I talk about, my goal is to create more profitable hotel investors and owners. And a lot of folks don't realize that they can use their retirement to actually invest. So that's why we have, so these are the different ways: lines of credit, savings, retirement, life insurance, equity, and crowdfunding. And then we have Brian from New View. He is actually going to talk about retirement and how you can use that, some of the benefits. So I'm going to actually pass the screen over to you, Brian, make you the host. Cause do you have a presentation? You don't?
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. You gave me that look. I'm like, I have a strong feeling you have a presentation. You were just playing with me.
I got a few slides I want to share. Definitely.
Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna make you the host so that way you can go ahead and share your screen.
All right, thank you.
All right, so I think you're host now. All right. All right, Brian, the floor is all yours. Oh, I need to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours. So we're actually live here on Zoom and we're live here in the Facebook group. So go for it, Brian.
Hey, everyone. So my name is Brian Martinez. I am with New View Trust Company. If you haven't heard of us, we're located right outside of Orlando, Florida. We're in Longwood, Florida. And what I'm going to cover a few cool strategies that most people don't know that they can do. It's ways you can save money on capital gains tax when you're making investments, ways that you can raise capital if you're looking to raise capital, ways that you can use retirement money yourself and build your wealth and leave that wealth for your beneficiaries and your legacy to continue building wealth on top of that. And we're going to talk a little bit about compound interest as well. So I got a great presentation for y'all. Hope you're ready. So a few things about New View before we get started. We have been in business since 2003, so almost 20 years now. We're right around the corner from that. We have about 20,000 active clients that are investors. They invest using IRAs, health savings accounts, as well as their 401ks. Specific type of 401ks, which I'm going to dive deeper into in a little bit. And then we custody over 2 billion in client assets. When I say custody, we don't manage those. We are simply the custodian, and that's what self-directed IRA companies are. We're a custodian of your alternative assets. So we do all the record keeping for you. We keep track of your contributions, your distributions. We do the tax reporting for you at the end of the year. So those are basically what our role is as the custodian of your IRA or 401k or any other plans that I'm going to cover. All right, so a few other things about what a self-directed IRA is. So self-directed IRAs have actually been around since the 70s, but most people don't know that these exist. It's just a different way of investing. So for example, you have your Fidelity, your Charles Schwab, your Merrill Lynch. Those are pretty common household names. And most of the time you're with an employer, you're limited to those plans that limit you to only the stock market. Most people are familiar with the stock market. It's up, it's down, it's a roller coaster ride. You really don't know what to expect. You're kind of just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. Unless you really, really understand the market, you still can't predict it and you can't control it. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Self-directed IRAs allow you to invest in what's called alternative assets. And the self and self-direction is truly self. You choose those assets and how you want to invest those, whether it be in real estate, private lending, mortgage notes, tax liens, cryptocurrency, precious metals, investing in private companies or equity or private stock pre-IPOs. Those are just a couple examples of things that you can do in a self-directed IRA. These are more tangible type of assets that you can invest in. So hope you're ready. Take some notes here. There are different types of plans you can use to invest into these types of alternative assets. So these are the most common. First one, you got your Roth IRA and your traditional IRA. These are personal plans. Then you have your employer plans. When I say employer plans, these are more for people that are like self-employed entrepreneurs or have small businesses. So you have a solo 401k, your SEP IRA. Some people also call a SEP a self-employed pension plan. It's great for small businesses as well. Small teams of maybe 1 or 2, 3 people at the most. And then you have your simple IRA. That's great for small businesses as well. The contributions are different on all of these plans, so I'm going to cover that as well. A few other things. You have special plans. People don't know that you can invest these. Health savings accounts. So many people in America have these health savings accounts, and they think that it has to just sit in a bank account, but it can actually be invested and it can accumulate some compound interest while it's invested. You can accumulate your medical receipts and invoices, let those things stack up, and then you can turn those receipts in if you want to at the end of the year or at the end of 5 years while your money's working for you and invested. Cover those expenses yourself personally. So I'm going to go into more details on that. And the other one is a college savings account called a Coverdell Education Savings Account. That one's another good one to build wealth for your children. So when they get to college, I wish my family would have done that when I was younger and knew about these types of plans. So I mentioned a couple of the assets you can invest in, but these are the most common things. When it comes to real estate, that's number one. By far, majority of clients like to invest in real estate. Why real estate? Like I said, it's brick, mortar, tangible. You can see it, you can feel it, you can understand how a real estate market works. You can understand appreciation, you can understand short-term rentals. So these are some of the most common things we see clients doing in real estate. Buying foreclosed properties, tax liens, multifamily apartments, and hotels would be under there as well. Real estate options, option contracts, condos like Airbnb, short-term rentals. You can buy land, you can buy offshore real estate, and you can invest in commercial property. Those are probably the most common things you'll see in real estate. And then you have the other end where you're actually lending the money from the IRA. So you can literally create a note to a borrower, say somebody doing a fix and flip or something, and they want to borrow $50,000 from your IRA. You could create that note just like someone would go to a hard money lender or go to a bank and take a mortgage out. You can do the same thing with your IRA money. The best part about doing an IRA is the tax savings, which we're going to get further into. A few other things, private entities, so LLCs, limited partnerships, joint ventures, trusts, things like that you can invest in as long as it's not publicly traded stocks. If it's publicly traded, that's when you go to the other competitors like Fidelity or Charles Schwab. If it's something private or pre-IPO, so it's not publicly traded, we can hold it here at NewView. And then you have your cryptocurrency. A lot of people are looking into this. It's definitely evolved. It's come a long way in the past 10 years. But the most commons are like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. I'm not a big advocate of crypto, and be honest with you. It's kind of like the stock market. You can't predict it, you can't control it. I'm more about investing in things that you know and you understand. So that's why I lean more towards the private lending and the real estate myself. One thing, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you tax advice. I'm sharing my knowledge with you. Take it, learn from it. We have lots of workshops. We're constantly educating. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can go to our Facebook page. We do weekly workshops. The next one starts at 1 p.m. and we cover all different varieties of topics as well. So what I love to tell my clients is diversifying your portfolio is going to probably set you up for the most success. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. When whoever came up with that expression, they said it for a reason. It's true. You have better odds and better chances if you diversify your portfolio of retiring wealthy and in a comfortable place. And that's what we all want. We want to, have that retirement dream. When you see those pictures of, your grandparents on a beach somewhere, we all want to be able to retire comfortably and not have to, we put our time in for years and years, and now it's time to reap the rewards from all that hard work. Not only that, you want to limit your tax savings. So this is another big benefit of using an IRA versus using your cash. So for example, say you made an investment and you used your cash in, I don't know, let's just say cryptocurrency, and you did well and you made some money off of it and you're ready to take that money out. Well, you're subject to a thing called capital gains tax. However, if you did that same thing and you did in a Roth IRA, there is no capital gains tax on that. So that's another thing that you want to consider a self-directed IRA for, is just that amount of tax that you're going to be saving on it, and investing in something that you understand. So whether you're learning about real estate, you're already doing real estate, or you're just networking with real estate professionals, like-minded investors, it's something you can definitely understand versus the stock market. Not a lot of people can understand or control it. All right, so I'm going to get into a little bit further deeper on how the IRAs work, and then we're going to go into the employer plans. So by far my favorite type of IRA is called a Roth IRA. Why do I love the Roth IRA? Because it's a tax-free account. So the way it works is with Roth versus a traditional IRA, you can either pay your taxes on the seed or pay your taxes on the crop. So that's up to you. How do you want to pay your taxes? Is it better to pay your taxes now or pay them later once you retire? So there's some different strategies, and everyone's strategy is different. It's really up to you. Talk to your tax professional or CPA and ask what they would recommend. But the reason I like the Roth is, if I find a great investment, say I got, $20,000 in my Roth right now, I'd rather pay the taxes on that $20,000 than make that investment and let it grow tax-free for me for the rest of my life. It'll always grow tax-free. So if I retire and that account is worth, $300,000 when I retire, well, I only paid taxes on the $20,000 I originally started with. So that's the reason I like the Roth so much. And the traditional is a little bit different. That one is called a tax deferred account. The way that works is it's tax deductible when you make contributions. And these are the contribution limits in front of the screen right now. So you can only start with $6,000 a year. Right now is a good time because for 2021, you have until April 15th to make contributions to an IRA for the Roth and the traditional. So right now you can potentially put $12,000 away. For 2021, you're filing your taxes and you can deduct that $6,000 that you contributed to the plan. If you're over the age of 50, there's an additional $1,000. So now it's deductible. So that means you're not paying taxes on that. It's tax deferred. Now you invest that money. It's going to keep growing and accumulate. And say you retire, in the future at $300,000, like the example I gave before. Well, once you start taking distributions from it and start using that for your cost of living expenses and maybe your vacations or whatever you want to use it personally, you can take that money out after the age of 59 and a half. Now you pay the taxes on it. And it's subject to whatever your tax bracket is at the time you're taking those distributions. So there's no penalties taking distributions after the age of 59 and a half. Now, once you reach the age of 72, you are required to start taking the money. You have to start taking the money out. And that's only in the traditional IRA. The Roth IRA does not have those. They're called RMDs, or required minimum distributions. The Roth IRAs are not subject to that. So your money can always keep working and accumulating and building that wealth in that tax-free vehicle. And what a lot of mistakes people make when they retire is they think that once they retire, they don't have to invest their money anymore. But that's by far the worst thing you can do. Is you want to keep that money always working, keep that cash flow coming in, and just don't put your money in too risky of investments once you're retired because you don't want to lose your money either. But if you keep the money working, keep cash flow coming in, for example, like a real estate type of investment, that real estate's not going anywhere. And you might be taking money out here and there for your expenses to survive, but it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep working. And then when your beneficiaries inherit it, they're also going to have an asset that's cash flow producing. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about whether a traditional or a Roth IRA might be best for you. So these are employer plans. So there are some limitations to be able to be eligible for these types of plans. So a SEP IRA, like I said, it's also kind of known as a self-employed pension plan. You can contribute up to $58,000 a year to this plan for 2021, and they actually increased it for 2022 to $61,000 a year. Now, that's a big chunk of change to be able to contribute to a plan like this, because now you have a lot more buying power at the very beginning. Just because you're eligible, because you're self-employed, you can open this plan. The other plan that also has high contribution limits is called the Solo 401k. I like the Solo. Solo comes with a little more responsibility. Before I mentioned what NewView's role is as a custodian, doing the record keeping, tax forms, things like that. Well, in the Solo 401k, you're taking on that responsibility. You're adopting the plan. And then once you get the plan and trust documents, you're executing your own investments, signing your own documents, and processing your own tax forms and doing your own record keeping. But the reason I like the Solo 401k so much is there's a few things. Number one, it's a 401k plan. You can always take a loan against a 401k plan if you ever need it to, up to $50,000. It just cannot exceed 50% of the total value of the account. So you can take a personal loan against it, but you just have to pay the loan back, and you're paying yourself back. You pay it back with interest. The interest is prime plus 1%, so it's not a high interest rate. And once you start paying yourself back, you have 5 years to pay it back, at least make quarterly payments. And then, it's just borrowing the money, really. You can't do that in an IRA. You can only do that in a 401k. Another reason I like the Solo 401k is because it's exempt from this taxation. When you invest into anything that involves leverage, a mortgage, borrowed money, you're subject to a tax. It's called UDFI tax. But in the Solo 401k, it's exempt from that taxation. So it is superior to the IRAs for that one reason. You don't have to worry about that UDFI tax. You can make investments, even use your own leverage. If you wanted to buy your own rental properties, you can do that with a Solo 401k. And then you have your simple IRA. Same thing. It has decent contribution limits. This is great for small businesses. It does have a mandatory employer match. So if you have employees and you maxed out your plan, so 13,500, well, your employees, whatever that percentage that you're contributing to your IRA, you also have to match up to 3% for your employees. So that's something to take in consideration as well. And it's always going to be, tax deductible on the employer side because it's an employer plan. And then these are some of the other plans I mentioned. So your health savings account, you can contribute $36.50 for yourself. And then you can also, if you have a family plan, it's $7,300 you can contribute each year. Now, it's not a whole lot of money, right? The IRAs, if you're self-employed, you can contribute more, but the health savings is pretty cool. I'm gonna tell you why. It's tax deductible going in, so tax-free going in. You make that in those investments, whatever you're investing in. You can partner with your IRAs or your 401k on investments, so it gives you a little bit more buying power. And then whenever you take the money out, once you accumulated all your medical expenses and you're ready to start taking some of that HSA money out, paying yourself, reimbursing yourself back, it's also tax-free. So it's tax-free coming in, tax-free going out. That's why I like the health savings account. The only way to be eligible for a health savings account is if you have a high deductible healthcare plan. So go back to whoever your provider is, let them know, hey, I'm interested in a health savings account, or find out if you're eligible now. Because you usually only make that change like at the end of the year. It's usually November, December. Find out when the next, if you're like with a W-2 job and the HR company, usually they offer you to change your plan. You might want to consider a plan that has a health savings account so you can start using that money, make contributions, and then use it to partner on other investments you're making because of the tax savings on it. And then the Coverdale Education Savings Account, it's a college savings account for your kids or grandkids. You can open this up. The contribution limits are smaller, $2,000, but like I said, right now is a great time because you can still contribute for 2021 and 2022. So say you have, 3 kids, you contribute $4,000 each. That's $12,000 you just put away for them. And then that 12,000 can be partnered with, say, your IRA or your 401k on some of the investments that you might be looking at. So for example, say Davon, she's acquiring a new property and you want to invest with her, and you have a health savings account, you have some kids, you can establish the education savings account, and you have your IRA. And maybe that minimum buy-in is like 50,000 to get in the deal, right? You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. You can partner all of those accounts together, and now you have enough money to be able to do that minimum buy-in, and now your money's going to keep working for you, growing for you.
Wait a minute, Brian, did you have a presentation up?
I do.
Oh yeah, no one, it's just been you talking.
Nobody can see my presentation?
We just been seeing you talking.
Oh, that is not good. I thought I shared my screen. Okay, let's try it again. Share. Here you go. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
I thought you were looking at it the whole time. Thanks for telling me.
No, if you go to edit,
Okay.
you'll be able to make
I'm gonna
it
just
full
review
screen.
the slides. So this is what I was telling you, just background
What?
on.
If you click on edit, you can make it larger.
Oh yeah.
And then click on wait a minute, click on so you can present it. Click on
Presentation mode.
yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to minimize the screen here. Present. How's that?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. Wow, I thought you guys were watching this presentation with me the whole time. So I'm going to fly through some of these slides. So these were the different types of plans here, but I'm going to go to where I was with the contribution limits. So these are the real estate options here, most commonly seen. And I'll share the presentation with you guys too. I can send you the slides so you can look at them. These are promissory notes, so secured or unsecured notes. That's private lending, private entities, so investing in like an LLC, joint ventures, trusts, limited partnerships, and then cryptocurrency. All right, so then you have contributions here where I was. So these are your personal plans, your Roth IRA, $6,000 if you're under the age of 50 per year. An extra $1,000 you can contribute if you're over the age of 50. Your traditional IRA is the same contribution limits. The only difference, remember, is the Roth is tax-free. Traditional is tax-deferred. And these are your employer plans. So you have your SEP IRA, which I was just talking about, the solo 401k, same contribution limits. And then you have your simple IRA, which is good for small businesses. And your health savings accounts and your education savings accounts. So I will just pick up where I left off. All right, so benefits of having the Roth. Remember, it is going to be tax-free. It's penalty-free as well. There's no penalties after the age of 59 and a half years old. There's no RMDs, required minimum distributions. And you're also creating tax-free wealth for your beneficiary. So someone at some point when you are leaving the world, someone's going to inherit this account from you. And if you like the Roth IRA, you could always, and say you're not eligible to contribute to the Roth, there is a rule. There's certain income limits. So if you and your spouse combined make $190,000, you cannot contribute to a Roth directly, but you can contribute to a traditional IRA or a SEP IRA, possibly if you're self-employed, and you can do what's called a Roth conversion. So that's converting your pre-tax money into post-tax money. And now it's in a Roth IRA, and that's kind of like the backdoor Roth people call. So now you have that Roth money that you can start investing, and it's going to grow tax-free for you. And then, all right. So what you can expect for doing a Roth conversion, you're going to pay taxes on whatever you convert. So that is added to your taxable income. So if I converted $20,000 from, say, a traditional IRA this year, or an old previous employer 401k that rolled over to a traditional IRA, and I converted that $20,000, well, that $20,000 is now taxable. I'm going to pay the taxes on that $20,000. Now it's in a Roth, and now it's going to grow tax-free for me. So if you're, for some reason, you're a high earner, you're not eligible to make that contribution to the Roth directly, there's a backdoor way of doing it. So you can expect it. Talk to your CPA. You don't want to do that conversion if it's going to put you in a higher tax bracket, unless it's really worth it. It's a great investment where you know you're going to get some high returns from it. Then you might want to consider, paying the taxes on the $20,000, because at the end of the investment, maybe 5 years down the road, that IRA might be worth, $100,000 if you make the right investment. So I'm just giving you some scenarios that I see clients doing. Really talk to your CPA, talk to them about what you're trying to do, what your strategy is. And I'm going to cover some of the rules, because there are some rules when you're using an IRA to make investments into alternative assets. All right, so I mentioned it could put you in a higher tax bracket. Would you rather pay the taxes now or pay the taxes later? And if you earn too much, I told you exactly what you could do to get around that. All right, solo 401ks, I did mention a few things on that. I do want to cover this. So anyone listening, self-employed, this is all for you right here. And as you're talking to other people, or you're raising capital and you find out that they are self-employed by any chance, then this is a plan that, I would definitely have them speak to me about, because it allows you to contribute more money. So with the solo 401k, you can contribute up to $20,000, $20,500 as the employee of your business. And then there's also catch-up contribution if you're over the age of 50 of $6,500. So a total of $27,000 can be contributed as the employee of your business every year. That hands down, you can always make. Then there's the employer side. So I'm going to give the example I give most of my clients that want to do solo 401ks. I work at Newview Trust Company. I'm an employee here. And because I'm an employee, I can contribute to my 401k plan. Well, when you have your own business, you're the employee and you're the employer. So me working at Newview, they match a certain percentage of my 401k, and that helps me. So now I have more buying power to make more investments. So it's the same thing. You're the employee and the employer. You can match up to 25% of what your gross income is towards that 401k plan. You just can't exceed the contribution limit. So at the end of the day, say you get through the year and you made a ton of money and you're like, oh my God, I made so much money this year. What can I do to at least lower my tax burden a little bit? Well, you might want to consider a solo 401k, because the maximum is, if you're over the age of 50, is $67,500 you can contribute to this plan. Now, that's a good amount of money. And like I was talking about before, a lot of times when you're making investments in things like apartments or any type of syndications, usually they require a certain minimum amount, and it's usually like $25,000 to $50,000 from what I've seen. Sometimes it's more, but having a plan like this, because you're self-employed and be able to contribute that much money, now you have enough money to make that investment. And not only that, it's going to grow tax-free or tax deferred for you. It just depends what type of account you're using. So that's definitely, a real big perk on using a solo 401k if you're self-employed and eligible for it. Or if you're talking to people and you're raising capital, find out if they're self-employed, because this is huge. They might not have an IRA, but they might be self-employed and be eligible to do a plan like a solo 401k. And, it's superior to doing cash. The only thing about using a retirement plan is, it's retirement money. It's still building wealth, but you don't have to tap into your cash that's in the bank if you have retirement money. It's patient money. So if your money is invested already and you decide later on you want to do a conversion, you could still do a Roth conversion from the asset. The asset has a value, it holds a value. It's called fair market value. So if I bought a piece of real estate and I'm like, you know what, I'm doing really well with this piece of real estate and I think I want to put it in a Roth. Do I have to sell the real estate to do that? You don't. You just do what's called a in-kind Roth conversion. And now all the cash flow coming from that investment, it's going to be tax-free going forward after that. All right, so these are the rules. This is the most important thing. Whenever you're making an investment using a self-directed IRA or a solo 401k, HSA, ESA, any of those plans I mentioned before. Just remember, it has to be a passive investment. It must remain at arm's length. So if I bought a piece of real estate, I can't live on the property. I can't rent the property. That's one of the biggest rules. And neither can what's called disqualified parties. So disqualified parties are my ascendants and my descendants. So my parents and grandparents, my children and grandchildren, and spouses of my children and grandchildren are all disqualified. Why are these people disqualified? Because eventually those are the parties that would probably inherit this IRA from me if I were to pass away tomorrow. You know, whoever I list as a beneficiary, it's usually going to be one of those family members. So they're exempt. They can't live there. They can't rent it. They also can't put any sweat equity in the property. If it needs work or renovations, I can't hire them directly or indirectly. So if they, you know, my son has a contracting business and he wants to come in and do the demo work on this piece of real estate I bought in my IRA, he can't do it. His business can't do it either. It's got to be a third party person. There are family members that are not disqualified, like branches of your family tree. So brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, people like that are not disqualified parties. And then the way it works when you buy an IRA, use an IRA for your investments, is any expenses that would accumulate. Basically, say I bought a house and it needed a new roof, for example. That's pretty common. The IRA owns the property 100%, so the IRA is responsible for that expense 100%. There are some loans you can take out. They're called non-recourse loans if you needed to do that. And then how's the income generated? Well, whatever money and profit you make comes back to the IRA. So just like I'm responsible 100% for all the expenses, well, I get to keep 100%, or my IRA gets to keep 100% of the profits from that investment. So always the cash flows through the self-directed IRA custodian. And every year we need to know what the fair market value of your assets are worth. So we're going to send out an email and say, hey, can you update this fair market value for your assets? So we just want to know what the value is, because we have to report that on 2 tax forms. The 5498 we report for you. It's reports what the value of your assets are. And then the 1099-R reports if you've taken any distributions. So that is one of our responsibilities as a custodian of your self-directed IRA investments. So the cool thing about Newview is the more transactions, more investments you make, the more you're going to save, because we don't charge any transaction fees. And if you have questions, you want to have a one-on-one consultation, see what plans you're eligible for. If you have previous employer plans, you just, want to learn more about how we can work together. If you're trying to raise capital, or if you're trying to make an investment, you have questions, I'm always happy to talk. This is my direct email. It's bmartinez@newviewtrust.com. That's the best way to reach me. And if you want to scan this QR code, you can stay up to date with any workshops or events. We had an event back in January, and Davon was one of our speakers there. And it was a great event. It was a 2-day event. We covered lots of topics. We covered real estate, short-term rentals, fix and flips, definitely hotels, multifamily syndications, private lending, mortgage notes. We had so many different topics there. What else did we cover? Storage units. So all
it was great. Probate. It was great. Actually,
probate,
one of my students, I don't even know if I've shared this with you. One of my students who came, she ended up investing in the deal based off of the people that she met. So it was, oh man, it was just a great, every person who I recommended to go, they came back with just so much knowledge, with different ways that they can diversify their portfolio. And like I said, they were able to work with people that they can actually get on it and on investment deals.
Oh, that makes me feel so good, because we put a lot of work into that event. We do have another one coming up. We're shooting for August, so I'll keep you posted on that one, Davon.
Oh man, that event was great. I mean, that was like one of the best events I've ever been to.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was told, that people go to a lot of events, but it's not always the quality. People that are there aren't the quality investors you're looking for. But at our event, majority of the attendees are clients. We have 12,000 clients, and they're looking for investments constantly. They want to keep their money working for them, and they don't want their money in the stock market. They're looking for these types of investments. They just don't know where to find them. And us, as being a custodian, we can't just put investments in front of our clients or tell them what to invest in. They have to do their own due diligence. We don't do that part for them, but we could put them in a room and educate them on different types of assets they can work on or invest in or partner with. And then it's up to them to make that investment if they want to move forward. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's ours. We have lots of social media as well, YouTube, Facebook. Follow us. We're always posting new content on there. We love bringing guest speakers in. And anyone listening, we are running promos right now. So just make sure you mention it. It's March Madness. We are waiving the $50 application fee, and we're also offering a $50 credit towards your account. So you're getting started pretty much for free right off the bat. And then when you make your first investment, it's only $325 per asset. So our fees are very low, and we are here to help. We just want to educate, get the word out that, hey, this is a different way of investing. And there's about $34 trillion out there in retirement money. And I guarantee majority of that money and those people with those dollars, they don't know they can invest using their IRAs. Not only that, we're at a really unique time in our lives because all these baby boomers are starting to retire. And what they're going to do, they're going to leave their legacy and their wealth to their beneficiaries. And those beneficiaries, these are the new millennials and these Gen X. They're going to inherit a lot of wealth, and they're not going to want their money in the stock market. That's the old way of investing. They want to do new things, and real estate's probably the one thing people are looking at. I mean, the market is insane right now. So thanks again for having me, Davon. I'll open up for any questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, it was one question. It was made early. It says, can you address UBIT when investing with your solo 401k?
Yeah, so solo 401ks are not exempt from UBIT. UBIT applies if you're investing into any businesses. It's unrelated business income tax. So UBIT still applied even with the solo 401k, but the other tax that's similar to UBIT is called UDFI tax. So it's unrelated debt finance income tax. So that happens whenever you're using leverage on any investments you're making. So for example, I found a house. I used some of my IRA money, but I took a loan, a non-recourse loan to buy that property. Now I have leverage involved, and I'm going to be subject to UDFI if I made that investment with my IRA. If I made that same investment and took that same leverage out with the solo 401k plan, I'm exempt from that UDFI tax. So it's only exempt from UDFI, but not from UBIT. Does that make sense?
Hopefully that makes sense. That question was asked early, but you on a roll. I ain't want to stop. Okay. And Brian, will you be able to share with me that presentation? Because I know a couple folks.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it over to you so you can blast it out to your group, and anyone else that's interested in learning more, have them reach out to me. I'm always, like I said, I'm always happy to help. If you're raising capital and this is brand new for you, you want to know how you can add this to your arsenal, basically, like I will do all the educating. That's the cool thing is, you don't have to learn all of this and know all of this. I will help do that part for you. We do all the educating and we'll teach the clients. You just introduce us and we'll do that part for you. I am trying to stop sharing my screen now because I don't want to keep it on there for you guys. Hold on a second. Are you there? Here it is.
Okay. I think I'm the host now.
Okay.
Okay. All right. There we go. So yeah, you can stop sharing your screen. You know how to do it? No?
I'm trying to open up my Zoom again, but it's giving me some problems here with this mouse.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'll just share my screen.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Okay. All right. Well, if you don't have any additional questions for Brian, I'll share your contact information. And along with the presentation, I'm sure people will reach out to you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for having me again, Davon. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks,
absolutely.
Everyone.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. So you guys, what did y'all think about that? How y'all, any questions? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? Did y'all even know that? Know that it was possible? Share my screen. This is new to you, right? Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is great info. How y'all feeling? Drop it in the chat. Was it good info? How y'all feeling? Share my screen. Okay.
Hey, Davon, I feel like it was a lot of information. I was kind of overwhelmed, honestly. And I feel like I definitely need more of like a one-on-one to just, for one, I need to digest. And then ask the questions pertaining to my situation.
Got it. Yeah, well, I definitely share. Now, let me just get a feel for the audience. So who's looking to invest in real estate or hotels? Or who's looking to actually raise capital, meaning that they want to buy a real estate project and they need to raise capital. Let me just see. Both. Okay. Both. Okay. I'm trying to just simplify what he just said. Both. Okay. So we got both. Okay. So for the people who looking to invest, okay. So for folks who are looking to invest, working with somebody like Brian. So for instance, there are other companies out here. New View is just one. Meaning that you can you would use your retirement, because hotels and commercial real estate projects, they're typically long-term investments anyway. And so they're typically long-term investments anyway. So meaning if you don't want to use your cash, right? That's what typically people do. They use their retirement because it's more of a longer term investment. So that's when you reach out to someone like Brian or self-directed IRA custodian, right? Another thing, so for the folks who are looking to raise capital, there's some people who may want to invest in one of your projects, but they may not, have they may not want to use all their cash. And so that's an opportunity for you to say, hey, well, folks can use their retirement to invest. So hopefully that clarifies some stuff for the folks that are like, whoa, this is a lot. Does that help? That clarify it?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. And exactly. So another reason why I want to do this is give more people and options to participate, because there's some opportunities out there, and people, particularly a lot of people in our community, we don't realize that these opportunities are out here. We feel like that we got to use all of our cash and we got to save forever just to invest in a deal, when really it can be it be simplified as far as just using retirement, something that you don't plan to use anyway. And a lot of times people like to do that to diversify their options. So okay, so I was talking to the people who want to invest or diversify their portfolio. Now I'm going to be talking to the people who actually want to raise capital for their projects, right? So I'm actually having a 5-day summit the end of March, where we will go through, it will be 9 other expert speakers, including myself, will be walking through exactly how you raise capital for your real estate projects, right? So for hotels, multifamily, it's not just, because I can raise capital pretty much probably for anything, right? I just do it for hotels. This is the website to register. I guess I could put it in the chat. But what's included is a 5-day summit. So it's for real estate investors, beginners, experts, or syndicators, right? So we'll have 10 experts, including myself. We'll have the phone scripts. We'll have the email scripts. We're going to give a sample pitch deck. We're going to give a sample offering documents. Basically, for the folks who are trying to raise capital to invest in larger projects, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process and plan, and literally breaking it down. Through funnels, through scripts, through interactive workbooks. You'll get access to the replays. You're even going to get a marketing planner by Marketing by Murray. And so it's going to be live workshops. My securities lawyer is going to be on to even walk you through how to structure your deals as well. So this is the price. Until March 21st. That's the early, and it's only 25 slots available. Definitely wanted to make it really intimate, because a lot of times when it's a lot of people on the call, your questions and stuff won't get answered. So intimate session like this. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, this is for the folks who are looking to raise raise capital for their deals, meaning active investors. I think I have some passive investors on the call. They're like, look, that's too much work. I'm not trying to do all that. I'm not trying to raise capital for deals. I just want to invest and let my money, work for me without doing the work. So definitely stay connected with me. This is my I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, and if you're not a part of my Facebook group, definitely join Black Hotel Investors Facebook group. Let's see how much time I have left. I got 10 minutes left. Because I wanted to be respectful of everyone's time. So use this time to ask any questions you may have. Let me know how you feeling. Even if you don't have a question, you're like, but this is overwhelming. Just let me know how y'all feeling or if you have any questions. Ooh, y'all quiet today. Uh-oh, y'all quiet. What? No questions? It's always a question. So you definitely will get a replay of this, and then Brian's PowerPoint. Once he sends me the PowerPoint, then I'll make sure that I get it out to you all. Oh, what? No questions? What? I'm so shocked. Okay, there we go. There's a question. Because I was like, if there's no questions, I end the call. What's a good amount to start? Good amount to start for what? Meaning to, and what do you mean? It depends on the project. Some projects, the minimum to invest is like 25,000. It just depends. That's if you want to be passive. If you want to do the project on your own, I would say at least have access to $1 million, at least $1 million. If you want to do a deal on your own. And what I mean by access, meaning you personally don't have to have the $1 million, but meaning collectively. So that'll probably be a good amount to start. But every deal is different. So I can't, there's not like I wish it's like a cookie cutter answer, but it's not. Because if you decide to invest in a hotel in DC, maybe a different amount than investing in a hotel in Fredericksburg or at Atlanta, investing in Americas. So it's different price ranges. Check on Facebook, see if they had any questions. Okay. Okay. All right, let's check to see. Okay, no questions on Facebook. All right. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll end early. We'll end on time. About 7 minutes left. I just want to make sure I'll be able to get any answer that you all may have. Typically is more questions. I guess it was so much to wrap around your brain with that. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you learned a lot. Definitely stay connected with me with more programs coming up. And I will see you all soon. I'll see you in a group. I'll see you connected anywhere else. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a good day. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a happy Wednesday.
Thank you.
Oh, and for my women on the call, happy Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You all take care. Thank you for tuning in.
Davon, I just wanted to say hey to you directly because I met you at
said
the Black Girls in Real Estate Conference.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I thought you look familiar. Thank you for tuning
Yeah,
in.
my
I
hair,
appreciate you.
my hair is a little different.
Yeah, my hair's like yours. I'm rocking a natural today. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
You're welcome. I hope everything's been well for you.
Yeah, trying. Same thing for you. I'm glad you're keeping in contact.
Yes. I wanted to ask you a question directly, if maybe we could, if you have like 2 minutes after this call.
Oh yeah, sure. Sure. Actually, I'm about to jump in a meeting after this, so we'll have to connect offline. I just realized what time it was,
Okay.
so we'll have to connect offline. Yeah, but let's definitely connect.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I reach out to you email or?
Yeah, you can send me an email.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
thank
sounds
you all
good.
so much.
See ya.
See y'all. Y'all have a good afternoon, good Wednesday.
Okay. You too. Bye.